Kyle. I figured there's enough Tesla YouTubers out there, so it's time for a Chevy Volt one. So this is my little 2013 Chevrolet Volt, and I'm off to get some lunch, but I wanted to kind of do an introduction, tell you my story, that kind of situation. It's also really rainy today, and this traffic is insane here, so we'll see how this goes. Yeah, so I actually put a tow hitch on this thing. I bought it in Virginia. I now live in the San Francisco Bay Area, and towed a little 4x8 U-Haul across the U.S. with it. So I've got some stories that are worth sharing that I'll get to over time, I'm sure. One little thing I wanted to cover was why I think this is such a great car, because I'm a big fan of Tesla. I absolutely love them. I'd love to have a Tesla, but I think they're really overpriced. And the Chevrolet Volt, as I said, this is a 2013. I got it in 2016 for $16,000. Now in 2016, my Volvo 850 kind of died on me, so it was finally time to replace the 97 car. It had 202,923 miles on it, and the odometer stopped turning then, and I put another like 50,000 on it after that. So yeah, I was sort of forced to buy a car out of necessity. The Model 3 wasn't really available yet, and I'm glad that it wasn't, because it helped me buy this car. There were basically two cars I wanted, and we're hitting traffic. 1 second. Yeah, so of the two cars I actually wanted, this was basically the one that was available. So I'm glad I ended up with it. I actually had put a Model 3 reservation in and then canceled it later after deciding I really am happy with this thing's powertrain. I think the plug-in hybrid aspect of having full electric capability to highway speeds is where it's at. We have what that means is every single day of my daily driving is all electric, and I can road trip on gas anytime. And that even meant, as I said, I could tow a U-Haul across the U.S. And that was really interesting how that worked, as far as the engine just had to make enough power to cover my average usage, while the motor could output twice as much if I needed to. So even going over the Rockies was no problem, even at highway speeds, I could just maintain high speeds with my stored energy by using mountain mode, which is, I guess, a feature we'll get into at some point. We should try to get into a faster lane here. Yeah, we're merging, whatever. I'm just trying to make a video anyway. So, what's a good... This is super slow traffic today. What a crappy day. Good old Bay Area shitty weather. Yeah, so as I said, my old car died. I picked up the Volt, and I've since, let me check, since buying it, I reset my Trip B calculator and have not reset it since. So I've put 31,511.4 miles on it, and used 593.6 gallons of gas in that time, for an average of 53 miles per gallon. Now the Volt actually lies to you a bit, and that mile per gallon rating isn't taking into account MPGE. It's just assuming all your electric miles are infinite miles per gallon, and going from there, which is kind of interesting. Now the car's lifetime is actually at 79.7, because the previous owner seemed to do all electric all the time, and it was actually saying 250 plus when I bought it, but I dragged it down severely. Towing a trailer across the U.S. was 3,000 miles and getting 22 miles per gallon or something like that. I'd have to pull up my stats about that. So that definitely hurt it, but even so, I'm still at 53 miles per gallon. So I'm kind of on par with a Prius, despite having towed a trailer across the U.S., which was pretty cool. Let me go back to my normal display here. Yeah, so I'm a big fan of Tesla and of electric cars in general, and of power as is, so I've actually put a bunch of effort into being able to send minute amounts of power to various places. What I mean is I bought a Goal Zero Yeti 1000, which is a 1 kilowatt hour battery, and a 100 watt solar panel that can charge it. And that 1 kilowatt hour battery has a 1500 watt inverter on it, which is strong enough to run my car's level 1 charger. However, that battery is only a tenth of the size of this car's battery, which is this big thing right here, actually. It's actually a 16 kilowatt hour battery, but they only let me use 10.5, which is interesting. So they're kind of overzealous on their capping the bottom and top of the battery in order to prolong its life, which works out fine. Alright. So, one thing I absolutely love about the car, or electrics in general, is the ability to run the air conditioning or heating without the engine being on. And in this case, I mean, I can use the engine to store energy to be able to run it later. So when I was going across the US, I have a dog. He may be in here in future videos, hanging out in the back. It's basically set up for him back there. Or for sleeping. I've got a whole camping situation too. We'll get into that too. What was I saying? It'd be great if people could, like, tell me what I was saying, you know? I should do live videos. Here, we'll have a sip of coffee. Guess there's quite a bit of traffic. Perfect for this. Yeah, so I was talking about the air conditioning, and yeah, so when I was going across the country with my dog in the back, I mean, there are times you need to leave your dog in the car. Teslas have dog mode now, which is cool, but this, you know, I could always do that. I just turned off the lights and left the car running, basically. But also it works well for humans, because I could camp in it with the lights off, as I said. So I would sleep in the back, and I could run the heating or the air conditioning while I'm asleep all night, which is great. And even without stopping to charge or anything, I could still use gas to do that, and then just not have that engine running later when I needed the actual power for that. I think I'm in an exit-only lane. Now, as I said, I am a big fan of Tesla, and I'd love to get one day, but I sort of think maybe when Model 3s are available used at a reasonable price, I'll be more interested then. I just can't justify the price of 3 of these used cars for one of those. That doesn't make sense to me. I don't know why you would spend that much money on a car. The fact that people are is awesome. I'm an investor in Tesla and making money doing that. Well, not at the moment, they're way down, but it'll be fine. Just buying more shares while they're cheap. But yeah, I don't see, like, you can buy literally 3, maybe 4 of these cars for the price of a, you know, half-decent Tesla. The only benefits that I see there versus this car are autopilot and over-the-air updates. As far as, like, having an electric, this basically checks all the boxes there for way less money because you don't have to buy a huge battery. And the amount, like, I would save by going all electric on my road trips as well is, you know, paltry compared to what I save on my commuting costs. Now, that said, what I really want, as I said, as a setup as a camper, what I really want is like an electric RV. They just don't exist, so I'm sort of looking at how I can make one myself. We'll see about that in time. I'm following a Toyota Tacoma right now, which I've been kind of looking at because I'm intrigued by the idea of getting a pickup truck, putting a slide-in camper in it, and I found a really cool slide-in camper. It's called a Kimbo camper, KimboLiving.com. And but the idea would be that I could get that now and start outfitting that with a ton of batteries and solar and everything, and put it on an existing pickup truck, but then replace that pickup truck in the future with an electric pickup truck. So having kind of a swappable drive unit of the RV is intriguing for that reason. Merged. Okay. Now there are a few pickup options, and actually one that I would love is the Via Motors pickup truck, but they're only sold to fleets, and so you just can't buy them as a consumer. But I've seen one show up used, and it disappeared within like a day. I think it was only like $25,000 for it used, and it looked like it was in really good shape. And if you don't know what that is, it's effectively, it's made by Bob Lutz, who, you know, headed the Chevy Volt program, and so it's effectively a Chevy Volt in pickup truck form. You know, like a 40-mile range electric followed by a gas hybrid, which sounds perfect to accomplish what I was talking about. Because I am still a little reluctant about going all electric there, especially if you don't have something like the Tesla supercharger network, which is the other major benefit of a Tesla. But again, compared to this car, I have gasoline as my long-distance network, which I'd say is superior to the supercharger network when you're trying to cover long distances. Except for cost, of course. But even then, I'm getting 40 miles per gallon. I get great mileage at those speeds, except when I'm towing. But if you're towing something, you're going to be killing your electric range, and that doesn't work super well as of yet. So yeah, what else about me? I'm a massive nerd. I buy a lot of tech toys. As I said, I have that like Goal Zero situation, which basically is capable of charging this car. I kind of want to mount it in the car at some point. I want to get like a roof rack and mount it up there, which I know will hurt my range from an aerodynamic standpoint, but I think it's super cool, and I want to be able to like go off into the woods and chill for a few weeks and leave with more range than I started. The actual math I've done as far as what my tiny scale system can do, like a 100 watt panel, actually the math works out pretty well, although efficiency is the biggest problem, and so I really want to see a manufacturer. I need to turn on my defog. I want to see a manufacturer put solar on their car, because then they can do a more direct system. Like currently, using a panel to charge a battery, to run an inverter, to run a charger, to charge the car is a horrible way of putting energy into the car from that solar panel. They could go, you know, charge controller from the panel straight to the car's battery if it was the manufacturer doing it. So my little system, not using it on the car, but using it off the car, I was finding that it would take me about 2 days of good sun to fill the 100 watt or the 1,000 watt hour battery, which is 1 kilowatt hour, which is a tenth of my car's battery again. So 2 days of sun got me a tenth of my car's range, but only before efficiency losses. In reality, efficiency losses got me, instead of actually getting a kilowatt hour, I'd get like 3/4 of a kilowatt hour, 750 watt hours into my car. So the realistic thing was 2 days of sun got me 3 miles of range, when normally a full kilowatt hour would get me 4 miles of range in this car. What's funny is when I was doing that test, I was living on a tiny island, no longer there, but I was living in Alameda, and I was walking to a ferry, riding a ferry to work, and not really driving that much, except to like grab groceries and for weekend adventures and stuff. And so I actually was managing to meet my needs with a 100 watt panel, which was kind of funny, because by using public transport more, the little bit I drove my car was working fine. That said, I really like driving, and so I'm kind of glad that I've moved. I'm driving more again, and that's not going to be quite enough energy, but I'm still interested in kind of setting it up so that I can have a little RV-like situation and use it to run a little electric cooktop and that kind of thing. That's why I got that big battery. It's the inverter on it is scaled to basically be a house circuit, and so anything you can plug into a normal 120 volt thing, you can run off of this, which is pretty cool. I've also got a whole bunch of other little tricks there on a smaller 100 watt hour battery that has a big enough inverter to run the charger for the 1000 watt hour battery, and can also be charged by USB, which means that in a very, very, very inefficient and slow manner, I can take anything that provides USB power, put it into a 100 watt hour battery, put that into a 1000 watt hour battery, put that into my 10 kilowatt hour battery of my car. Very slowly. But I can USB charge my car, is what I'm saying. Or my electric bike. I also charge that up. And yeah, actually, before living on that island, I was in San Francisco itself, and was biking across the city on my e-bike every day, and put like 3,000 miles on my bike doing that, which was quite a good time. I thought that was a great way to commute. I guess the point is, I've done electric everything, and I know a good bit about how they all interact. And when it comes to driving, I've always loved just the physics of driving and like how people all operate driving. And I sort of would like to teach people to be better drivers if I could. Although hopefully autonomy will fix that. That's the other thing with Tesla. I'm sort of waiting for autonomy to be a thing. Once the Tesla network is live and you can send your car to go make money for you, I will be far more interested in purchasing one as an asset to do that. If it just needs to fill the need of driving places, this does that just fine, and I would not be saving money by buying a Tesla. As much as I want one. They're cool, but yeah. This car is pretty sweet as well, and I don't get the downsides of, having to wait to charge. I only ever really charge at home, or if I go somewhere that I was going anyway and they happen to have a charger, then I'll plug in. But even then, really only if it's a free charger, because half the time they're way overpriced, or they're charging by the hour, and this car doesn't charge that fast, and so by the hour is really a cost-ineffective way of doing it. What are some other fun things? I got a cooler right here. Use that on the cross-country trip. I've got Weathertech. Actually, you can even see that's the logo for the Weathertech thing in the window. So it's raining right now. I could crack my windows and no rain would come in, which is great. Also great for sleeping if you want to have some airflow if the car's not on or what have you. Yeah, I've got inverters and all sorts of things to play with power and move power around however I want. We're going very slow on this highway. I kind of want to pass this truck. And I learned that by using my phone as a camera, I cannot use it as a GPS. And so hopefully I know where I'm going. I don't know where I'm going. I know I'm going to exit 45, I think it was. We'll see. Not sure which one I'm at next. Alright, let's pass. Hey, that's a Model 3. And so even with Tesla or with this, what's great is that it's an electrically driven car, even when I'm using gas, and that's what I really love, is that forgetting how I'm getting energy into it, when I'm getting energy out of it, it's instantaneous. It does what I tell it to do as soon as I tell it to do it, and that's what I just love so much about electric anything. Every time I've gotten back into an internal combustion engine car, it's so hard to drive. The car feels out of control. It doesn't go when I tell it to go. It goes half a second after I tell it to go, and that's weird. And then if I, let off the accelerator, I kind of expect redundant braking to slow me down, and that's really weird when that doesn't happen. And instead, the only option is to hit the manual brake and waste a bunch of energy as heat, which isn't great either. So I like to kind of hypermile and try to use regenerative braking to slow down as much as possible. I guess that's one more benefit of Tesla, is that they have stronger regenerative braking, and it's a little easier to do with one pedal driving. But I drive an L all the time on this, which is like, oh hey, I had a GPS direction there for a second. Wonder what that said. But yeah, driving an L on this car is basically remapping the accelerator to do regen when you're off of it. And people say, oh, it's less efficient because you can't coast. It's like, no, you can totally coast. You just have to be able to use the accelerator. If you depress it the right amount, which is like 10 or 15 degrees on the pedal, then you're coasting. And I have a readout in front of me that actually says my actual energy in or out. Like right now, I'm regenerating 2 kilowatts, going 67 miles an hour. That's effectively coasting. And actually, even if you are in drive and you are off the pedal, it regens like 2 or 3 or 4 kilowatts rather. Okay, we're at exit 44. I need to go to 45, and then I don't know what I'm doing next, which means it's probably time to wrap this video up. We're almost at 20 minutes anyway, so hopefully you all like this. I'm trying to start a YouTube channel. Please, like and subscribe or what have you. I think I have 1 subscriber right now. I need to get to 1,000 before I can be monetized. So it'll be a long process, but if you're watching, thanks for watching. Have a good one. See you next time.